Hello everyone and welcome to our webinar today. My name is Adam Wilkinson and I'm the Colour Accounting Trainer for the Holst Group. I qualified as a Chartered Accountant back in 1999. Since then, I have 16 years of financial experience, 8 years working within the EMI Group plc and 8 years working as a Finance Director at various small and medium-sized companies. Since 2013, I have started leading colour accounting workshops with the Holst Group because I've realised how much I enjoy showing people just how easy accounting and finance can be. Today, in this webinar, I'm going to help you crack business finance jargon. Over the next 20 minutes or so, I'll be giving you an introduction to the language of finance and helping to demystify some of the complexities of finance and accounting. Before that, there are a couple of items of housekeeping that I would like to make you aware of. Firstly, all attendees are on mute to reduce any background noise that we might experience. Secondly, if you do have any problems with speaker sound, then do try the dial-in option instead. The details for the dial-in were included in the invitation that you received and are also visible in your control panel. Thirdly, we will have some time for you at the end to ask questions if you would like to. Finally, a recording of this webinar will be made available to you afterwards, as will the slide pack. So, what specifically will we be doing today? Firstly, I want to explore why it is that people find finance difficult to understand. What is it that makes it feel complicated and makes people fear finance? And what are the impacts on their performance? Then, we will be doing a financial literacy secrets countdown. Here I will reveal to you a top 5 misunderstandings about financial terms that commonly lead to confusion in financial discussions. By learning these simple secrets, you will be starting your own journey towards financial literacy. You will become more empowered to engage with numbers and with your finance department because you will have a clearer understanding of what accountants mean. These financial literacy secrets are just a taster of what we cover in our colour accounting workshops. These training courses run over 1 or 2 days and are a revolutionary new way to learn finance. We use a unique visual framework that makes accounting easy to understand because you can actually see and interact with how accounting works. This means that people develop a holistic understanding of finance and financial reports as we literally bring balance sheets and income statements to life. Okay, so why is it that people commonly feel that finance is difficult to understand? Is it an actual fear of numbers? Well, for a few people, yes, they may perhaps think that they are not a numbers person, but this is merely a self-limiting belief. The reality is that they probably are as much of a numbers person as they need to be. If you can subtract 50 from 200, then you understand numbers well enough to make sense of financial statements. So, is it technical knowledge? Partly, yes, but actually the technical side of accounting is straightforward once you understand both the structure of financial stories and the mechanics of how transactions are recorded. The issue isn't that accounting and finance is complicated, the issue is just that it hasn't been explained well enough. So is it the language? Well, actually, accountants do have a financial language that is all their own. Besides the jargon, in finance, words usually mean something different from what you actually think that they mean. This means that the language barrier is the most important factor in making finance difficult to understand. We're going to explore several examples of this barrier in our Financial Literacy Secrets Countdown today. Actually, this confusion about the language of finance is very widespread. I often see adverts or news articles, either in print or on TV, that are either imprecise or incorrect in their use of financial terms. Here's a great example, an advert from Target, where they pledge to give 5% of their income to the local community. Now, 5% of their income sounds like it should be an awful lot of money to me. But if you do the math, if you take their revenues of $65 billion per year and apply their 5%, that means that they should be donating $3.25 billion per year to the community. Well, that's $63 million a week, not the $3 million that they mention here. So why is there this huge discrepancy? Well, actually, what they do is they donate 5% of their profits to the local community, not 5% of their income. They've used the wrong language here in this advert. Now, I don't know if this is a simple mistake that they have made with wording, or if they are trying to mislead people, but I do know that misunderstandings like this are widespread in business and can have very significant impacts on people and on their businesses. And here are just a few of these impacts. If people don't understand finance, they'll generally have a lower engagement with their finance departments and pay less attention in financial meetings. They may therefore also have a lower motivation to address financial issues that come out of those meetings. Both of these mean that a business is probably experiencing ineffective communication between operational or commercial teams and their finance department. This in turn means that inefficient decisions may be made. For example, if decision makers are not fully clear on the likely financial impacts of their decisions. The combined result of all of these is that both cash and profit can be adversely affected without anyone actually intending to do so. In fact, history is littered with businesses that have gone bankrupt as a result of bad financial decisions. And this is why it's so important to make sure that you, your staff, your teams have a true grasp of the fundamentals of finance in order to maximize the performance of your business. Okay, let's get started with our financial literacy secrets countdown. Here is financial literacy secret number 5, that different financial terms can actually mean the same thing. Let's have a look at an example to illustrate this. Sales, revenue, turnover, income, earnings. These are all very different words, and they sound as though they all mean different things. But actually, all of these words are commonly used to refer to just one thing. That is the value of the sales of a business, also sometimes referred to as the top line of the business. So that's actually 6 different ways of referring to just one thing. It can be very confusing. There are also many other instances in finance where multiple words can mean the same thing. If you're aware of these, it reduces the scope for confusion to arise in financial conversations. Okay, before the next secret, I'm going to ask you a poll question, which should be appearing on your screen any second now. The question is, what does the term net mean? There are a few options here, and you can select as many as you like. I'll give you 20 seconds to read and to choose your answers, starting now. There's a 10-second warning, a 5-second warning. Great. The poll is now closed and the results are in. Thank you for that. So here is financial literacy secret number 4, that financial terms can actually mean several different things. Let's have a look at our poll results. The question was, what does the term net mean? 83% of you said it was after taxes, or 0% said after returns, and 0% said after discounts. 17% said after expenses, and 0% said after liabilities. Well, confusingly, it can actually mean all of these things. It depends on the precise context that the word net is used in. Net sales, for example, can refer to sales after deducting taxes, or deducting returns, or deducting discounts. It'll depend on the commercial arrangements of that business. Net profit, however, refers specifically to profits after deducting fixed or overhead expenses, whereas net assets refers to the value of a business after deducting its liabilities. So all of the above answers can be correct, as the word net can mean many different things. Being aware of this actually means that you have permission to not know what is being referred to in the financial conversations. It's not always clear. This means you can ask clarifying questions of your finance department, safe in the knowledge that it's a relevant question. Okay, so here is financial literacy secret number 3. Financial terms can also change their meaning depending on whose perspective you take. Let's have a look at an example of this. Let's consider an apparently simple financial term, such as debt. And imagine a situation where one person, Lee, owes another person, Adam, £100. For Lee, the debt is a liability. That means that it is an amount payable or owed to another person. But for Adam, the debt is very different. It's an asset. For Adam, it is an amount receivable or owed from another person. Both Lee and Adam can refer to the £100 as a debt, but we can see that they can mean very different things depending on who is talking about it. The word debt actually changes its meaning depending on whose perspective we consider. Perspective is one of the most common sources of misunderstanding in finance, and being aware of this enables you to check that your assumptions make sense and to ask clarifying questions during financial conversations. Okay, here is financial literacy secret number 2. Financial terms usually also have different meanings from the standard dictionary definition of those words. Let's have a look at an example of this. Let's consider an apparently simple financial term, an expense. The Collins English Dictionary definition of an expense is that it is a particular payment of money. This is therefore also what we all commonly assume an expense is, a payment of money. But unfortunately, this is completely wrong. It is simply just not the case at all. There are plenty of payments of money that you can make that are not expenses. For example, a business needs to make payment for assets or payments to reduce debts, but these are not expenses, although they are payments of money. And expenses are also separate from the timing of making payments of money. For example, in finance, expenses are actually when we use up or consume a product or service, regardless of when we pay for it, which could easily be 30 or 60 days later. I've often asked accountants to define what an expense is, and you'd be amazed how often even they get it wrong, making the common mistake of assuming that an expense is a payment of money. Okay, now it's time for financial literacy secret number 1. What is income? I'm going to start this as a poll question, so you'll have a multiple choice question pop up on your screen any second now. The question is, what is income? And there are 4 options. This time you can only select one. I'll give you 20 seconds to read these and place your answer. A 10-second warning. 5-second warning. Couple more still to vote. Votes in quickly. Great. The poll is now closed. Thank you. So, let's take a look and understand what is income. Well, here are the things that actually income is not. Option number 1. 14% of you went for this, saying that income is when cash comes in to a business. This is what a lot of people usually think that it is, but it is incorrect, as cash can come into a business for many reasons other than income. For example, cash could come in as a loan or as an investment. Option number 2, a monetary payment for goods or services. This had 29% of the vote. This is actually the Webster Dictionary definition of income, and it's incorrect because the payment for goods or services often happens separately from the actual exchange of the good or service. Businesses can pay for things 30 or 60 days after the sale or the income has actually taken place. So this option is also incorrect. Option 4. This was the most popular with 43% of the vote, defining income as monetary or other returns, either earned or unearned. This is the Collins Dictionary definition of income, and this is incorrect because income has to be earned. Unearned income here isn't income at all. Unearned income is something else entirely, and it's actually a liability. So again, we see the dictionaries getting the definition of accounting different from how it's used in financial conversations. So what is income? Well, option 3. This was chosen by 14% of you. The value generated by our sales of goods and services, by the actual activities that a business is doing and providing to others. That's what income is. This can result either in an increase in debtors or an increase of cash. But the income is not the cash itself. The payment usually takes place separately to the provision of the goods or services. All of this means that income is recognized and recorded by accountants when a sale happens, when the actual activity of those goods and services takes place. Income is what you do that will ultimately result in cash, but it is not the cash itself. Okay, so what were our takeaways from today? Firstly, we learned that actually language is the biggest barrier to understanding accounting and finance, not a fear of numbers or a lack of technical knowledge. Then we ran through our 5 financial literacy secrets. Here are those secrets again for you as a recap. Number 5, different financial terms can mean the same thing. For example, the words sales, revenue, turnover, income and earnings all simply refer to the value of sales of a business. Number 4, financial terms can actually mean several different things. For example, the word net can refer to net of taxes, discounts, or returns in the context of net sales. Number 3, financial terms can change their meaning depending on perspective. For example, the word debt, which can refer either to an asset or a liability, depending on whose perspective we are taking. Number 2, financial terms have different meanings from the dictionary definition. For example, an expense is not a payment of money, which is the classic dictionary definition. And at number 1, income is not cash. Income is the value generated by our sales activities, which will result in either an increase in debtors or cash. The interesting thing is that accountants won't even tell you these secrets because to them they're so natural and ingrained that they don't even realize they need to explain them. This is a lot of new knowledge for you, and I trust that it all makes sense. But it is just the start of a journey. Understanding the language of finance is just one of the 3 main pillars of financial literacy. The other 2 are understanding the structure and the mechanics of how finance and accounting work, in order to build a holistic understanding of how financial reports are compiled and how to make sense of them. When people understand finance and accounting, they build their business acumen because they can make informed commercial decisions. Both the structure and the mechanics of accounting are easy to understand in our colour accounting workshops. This is because we have a revolutionary visual framework that makes finance transparent and accessible in just one day. This is our framework here. It's a visual representation of a general ledger, the system in which accounting is performed. It consists of just 5 color-coded boxes for the 5 different fundamental types of accounting data that exist: assets, liabilities, equity, income, and expenses. Everything in finance and accounting can be explained in just these 5 boxes. This enables me to quite literally show people how financial information is classified and organized, and how financial transactions are recorded within this framework, and crucially, what impact these transactions have on business performance. All of this is done in an interesting and engaging way, with the result that, in just 1 or 2 days, colour accounting can give people a deep and lasting financial literacy. If you want to learn more about these, then please do contact us at the Hulse Group at your convenience to see what we can do for you and your organisations. Okay, everyone. Thank you very much for spending some of your valuable time on this webinar. I hope that you found it both useful and interesting. As promised, if you have any questions on the content, please type your question into the questions pane of the control panel on the right hand of your screen, and I'll do my best to answer you. Otherwise, I wish you all a very good afternoon.